Okay, here we go, everybody. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. Post-market wrap up, and we're going to do that. Let's start off with this market, man. I hate talking about it. I really do, because it's another clown show, another segment of it every freaking day. The disconnect between reality and anything else just keeps getting more extreme. The promise of easy money, currency devaluation, and economy in free fall. Fake trade deals and things you can't even imagine are going under the surface. I mean, you wouldn't know it if you followed a single mainstream media outlet. They're going to tell you how great we are, especially if you listen to a Fed chair or a person out of the Fed or the President of the United States. We couldn't be doing any better. Fact of the matter is, um, we, you know what? Let's just cut right to it. With regard to the market, really, relatively flat day. Some gains for the major indices. Okay, nothing you want to go crazy about. It's the 10-year yield, which is the tell. Ain't going nowhere. You got the Fed buying it all. You got the Treasury buying back their own debt with a main line to the Federal Reserve. Vast debt expansion. Well, look, the market could continue higher as long as they keep rates suppressed. It looks like they're going to kill the currency, which means you are going to deal with a much, much higher cost of living moving forward as they foster the greatest wealth transfer scheme the world has ever seen. And we're talking about the Cantillon effect. And this is the real reason why you're hearing calls for a weaker dollar and artificially suppressed rates. It has nothing to do with trade. First of all, we can't even pay the interest on the debt anymore. And what are they doing? Instead of finding ways to cut, we get something like a big, beautiful bill, which is going to add now not 3.6 trillion to the debt, but 4.1. The initial math was a little off, but the revision is always revised. Turns out to be more of a nightmare. And if you think those are the real numbers, well, I guess you're really disconnected from reality as much as this freaking stock market is. With regard to the dollar lower today, cryptocurrencies catching a bid. Gold and silver aren't doing too much. Crude oil down about 1% and change. Nothing major going on at all. But look, I want to cover this because we're seeing a phenomenon here that again, it's turn on CNBC, Fox Business, Bloomberg. Nothing. The silence is deafening because here's the deal. Now that President Trump fired at the head of the BLS for reporting on abysmal economic news, which was the way it was presented was way better than it actually was. If the numbers weren't fake to the upside, you can only imagine. So you're not going to hear from anything. I can't only imagine how this is going to play out moving forward. You got Fox Business, CNBC, Bloomberg. They're all afraid to talk about the numbers because President Trump may censor it all. Again, MAGA people, you don't like censorship? You like free speech, right? Okay, even if it's fake to look good. Where are you? You got your thumb in your ass. Sorry. Okay, that's a fact. Pull it out because it's disgusting. And you got to get with the program. I'm not calling you out. I'm calling you in. So this was yesterday. And I want to talk about this in more detail because we are getting broad-based losses with regard to unemployment here. But that's not even the kicker. The kicker is the standouts. And I did a full breakdown on this for you, and I want to cover that. So this is the headline here. U.S. services industries employment. U.S. service industries employment still declining amid weakening jobs market. It goes on to say service industry saw a decline of employment for the second straight month in July. It's been declining for longer than that, but now we've just broken below 50, and below 50 with regard to the ISM is contraction. We are now, this number is abysmal, 46.4. So, Lions, basically what this means is we're not even, all this recession talk, it's a joke. We're already there. What we're moving into is something yet to be defined. Now, I want to cover this with you in a few more things. So here we go. Lions, economic indicators report. There's almost not enough room here. The accommodation and food services industry saw the biggest decline in employment last month, followed by mining, company management, support services, educational services, construction, public administration, agriculture, forestry, fishing and hunting, professional, scientific, technical service, healthcare, and social assistance. I say pretty much that's everything. But the standouts here is what you need to pay attention to. There are several, and I break down why. So let's do this. So let's break this down. U.S. service employment is now officially in decline. The ISM Service Employment Index for July is 46.4. As you already know, anything under 50 equal contraction. That means the industry is contracting. Along now with our industrial engine, our factories, our manufacturing, they're dead. Dead. Now, the biggest declines in employment. Now, I wrote here the standouts. If you do sub to the Freedom Platform, this is in your inbox right now. By the way, just real quick, I'm only going to cover with these videos the headlines. I'm going to break them down for you, shed light on them. But with regard to, for example, this is something that you didn't get, you're not going to get here either. It's exclusive now to the Freedom Platform. There are going to, all my work, except for the headline stuff, which I'm going to tell you what's really happening with regard to YouTube videos, is only going to be addressing headlines and stuff like that, like I used to do. So I really hope to see you guys over on the Freedom Platform moving forward. Link in the description of this video. So here are the standouts and why they're, I can't, we're across the board here with regard to declining employment and a weakening jobs market. But the standouts, there's only a few here. They're the ones we need to watch. Now, for those of you out here that study the economy, you already know what I'm going to say, which particular sectors are important. So let's start off with the first one, accommodation and food services. This is the canary in the coal mine. Don't take my word for anything I'm saying here. Greg could be lying to you, could be making it up. Now, why? Why is accommodation and food services the canary in the coal mine? These are the first ones to get hit. Go back as far as you want to go when an economy is moving into recession or whatever we're at right now, yet to be defined moving forward. That's number one. Number two, mining and support services. This is tied to energy demand, industrial investment. Weakness here suggests slowing production-based activity. Okay, that's number two. Three, educational services. This is alarming. Education jobs tend to be recession resistant. Okay, so something's going on here. Weakness here, local and state budget pressure, declining enrollment, and hiring freezes. So that's just three. We got a couple more. Four, construction, an indication that manufacturing, which you know already, overall is slowing. Another clear pre-recession signal. Healthcare and social assistance. When healthcare jobs fall, this used to be recession-proof. Okay, it means deep structural weakness, not just consumer tightening. Now, public administration and agriculture. This is interesting. Budget constrained, we all know that, showing that even the farming industry is tightening its belt. What have we known since forever? They're going to weaponize the food, and we haven't seen anything yet. So I go on to say Lions. This data, and that's just, these are the standouts. I couldn't go over them all because it would have took pages and pages and pages, but the standouts here tell us all that where we're going is going to make a recession look like a walk through Central Park eating an ice cream cone on a nice spring day. Lions, this data confirms the slow motion unraveling of the real U.S. labor market. Despite manipulated fake government jobs reports, fake to the upside, but you'll get fired for that, that show low unemployment, even with the faking, the core engine of service-based employment is failing. It's not a recession that's coming, people. It's something much worse. Sound about right to you, or is Greg just making it all up? Read through the comments because some people are going to say, Greg is just making it all up. Now, let's move forward here. We got a few things going on here. As we know, President Trump's blanket tariffs are about to hit tomorrow pretty much across the board. This is due to the ability to not achieve his goals. We were supposed to get one deal every day. We haven't even gotten one comprehensive deal. With regard to EU, you guys are going to say, wait a minute, what about the EU? That's falling apart. The deal is falling apart, and I'm going to prove it to you right freaking now. So with regard to India, this is very interesting, and there's a reason why I mean, this is going to be across the board, but there's a reason why India is important. Trump raises India tariffs to 50% over Russian oil purchases. Now, I wrote, cannot have it both ways. So this is why President Trump just hit India with 25% more tariffs. They were paying 25%. Now they're paying another 25, bringing it to 50. So this is a report by CNBC. This is their words, not mine. Trump raises India tariffs to 50% over Russian oil purchases. Okay. President Trump implemented the additional 25% tariff on India days after he already imposed a 25% levy on the major trading partner. President Trump's words, I find that the government of India is currently directly or indirectly importing Russian Federation oil. Trump goes on to say, an executive order that he would be raising tariffs on India very substantially over the next 24 hours because they are buying Russian oil. And he goes on to say, are you ready for the kicker? They're fueling the war machine. Okay. But do remember that President Trump, you don't want this. I don't want this. Nobody wants this. Is sending hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayer money, yeah, yours, to Ukraine. How does that work? So President Trump is fueling the war machine. That's okay. India buys oil from Russia fueling the war machine. That's not okay. Very interesting. So let's look at this, and I wrote briefly. Trump's tariffs on India now 50% over Russian oil purchase for supporting the war machine. Okay. The obvious hypocrisy, Trump is funneling billions of taxpayer funds into weapons, ammo, drones, and satellite intel for Ukraine. MAGA people? MAGA, is anyone home? Are you home? Hello? Anyone in there? Again, not calling you out, calling you in. Speak out, man. Come on. Last thing I want to talk to you about. This is about this EU deal. First of all, there was no deal. Okay. The United States, anything imported here to the United States, you have to pay the tariff. Okay. They're not paid by the nations. President Trump wants you to believe that. It's a lie. They're paid by the importers, and that's passed on to you as an import tax. Period. But products going out to the EU, no tariffs. You really believe that EU is going to want our products right now? They're going to jump for joy for U.S. products. You really believe that now? Honestly, really? There's no way you believe that. There's no way anyone believes that. The nations don't want our dollar. They don't want our debt. They don't want our products. They don't even want our president there. He gets booed when he goes overseas. Oh, yeah, have you noticed that? Anyway, let's talk about this thing here. Trump is hailing the EU $600 billion investment pledge. Nothing was ever signed, but it might never happen. It's not going to happen, and I'm going to tell you why. EU $600 billion pledge to invest in U.S. is already coming apart. Let me read this to you. Lions, the EU officials are now stating that the $600 billion figure for potential investment in the United States as part of a trade deal is loosely aggregated from private companies, stated intentions, not enforceable mandates. This isn't Greg Mannarino, okay? This is the article. These have no legal obligation, government directive, or mechanism behind it. The commitments are entirely voluntary, not controlled or guaranteed by any authority. I had a back and forth with one of you out here who was saying, Greg doesn't want to talk about this great deal with the EU that President Trump he signed the deal to get $600 billion in investment. It was all a lie. I told you it was a lie. It was a pledge. Pledge means zero. Let's move forward. Moreover, there is no clarity on it. Timeline, sectors, or enforcement. It's coming apart right now. So what do we actually have here? We have this. We have nothing. We have zero. Yeah. What we have actually, we have one thing. I'm sorry. We have optics. And we can go, we have a deal. And I'm going to get sick. I have a pledge. A pledge. People in your life, you couldn't make this stuff up. But that's what we got here. Period. MAGA people, where are you, man? Where are you? Where are you, man? You see, Greg Mannarino has no dog in the fight. I am neither a Republican nor a Democrat. That's why I beat the living hell out of Biden creature, and Trump is even worse. Even worse. The only thing he's done was secure the border. The rest of it, we are in an economic meltdown that makes anything else before it look just fine and dandy. Yeah, you can't argue it because the reality is what it is. Period. The freaking end. All right, guys, listen, that's kind of it. Um, so that's the story, people. I hope to hear from you in the comments here, and just wait till the trolls, the bots, the scammers. I do apologize for these commercials here. I know they're very distracting. Come on over to the Freedom Platform. No commercials, no AI screening, no censorship, no bots, no scammers. Just a unified community dedicated to something, and we are making a positive difference in this world, people. Trust me on this. This week alone, we are supporting 2 more organizations with very generous donations. I don't want to talk about it too much here because it should be between you and God, what you do. And we're doing this together with the Freedom Platform. And I'm very, very proud of every single one of you who are a part of that. And not even talking about the year-end party that we're going to have. It's all done. It's all scheduled. You all know that. All you got to do, join the Freedom Platform one time. And you could earn points towards free subscriptions for life. But you guys stay here on YouTube. You're going to miss out on so much. Like this one here. Look at this headline. Post-reality system, historical market and economic trends are no longer working. Several pages. I put out a few things like this every day, and I'm not covering it here anymore. This is exclusive now to the Freedom Platform. Like I've been telling you, you guys can stay outside or you can come inside. Sometimes things require a commitment, even if it means you're going to be helping others by doing so, by paying it forward, because that is the core of who I am. Pay it forward, people, always in life. You're given the opportunity to do something for someone else, take it, okay? Because that's the source crying out to you saying, it's time for you to take action. Anyway, love you guys. I'll see you in the morning if you do sub to the Freedom Platform. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow night. And I'm looking forward to getting more of you over on the Freedom Platform. Honestly, we have something here that's beautiful, and I really want you to be a part of it, people. Honestly, that's it. All right, I'll see you.